fires a fastball.
Mike Evans, my goodness, what a catch by Mike Evans.
Brady takes the snap.
Brady lobs a throw.
Touchdown Tampa Bay. Godwin's got it. Fire the cannons.
Hey, here's the latest. According to our Adam Schefter, Brady and the Bucs are still going over the language in the contract before it's finalized, but nothing is expected to prevent Brady from announcing he's the new quarterback in Tampa Bay. On that note, we welcome in our guy, Marcus Spears. Hello, Marcus.
What's up, family? It's been an eventful show today.
Thank God for the NFL in these times, boy.
Sure has. It's a nice 2-hour respite for all of us and hopefully for the folks at home as well. Max, I want to come to you on this subject. How does Brady going to Tampa Bay now impact the league? Obviously, he's moving from the AFC to the NFC.
I think it'll be fun in Tampa Bay. I don't see it having an enormous impact directly in terms of the competitiveness. I think Tampa Bay will get better because I think Tom Brady, even at this stage of his career, is better than Jameis Winston. You know, recall what Fitzpatrick did as quarterback of Tampa Bay, and though he has much more of a kind of a gung-ho approach than Tom Brady, Brady, just by not making a lot of mistakes and game managing and then being big in important situations with all those weapons, should make Tampa Bay better. But I don't think Tampa Bay is going to win the Super Bowl. I think they maybe go to the playoffs, maybe win a game. I don't see them winning a Super Bowl. Meantime, what dominoes are there really to fall? Is suddenly Teddy Bridgewater, well, he's now off the market. Is Cam Newton the next domino to fall that's really going to make a difference in the league in this upcoming season? I don't see it. So I don't know that Brady now finally signing, if he does indeed sign with Tampa Bay, in fact, changes things this up-and-coming season all that much, other than we got our eye on them now.
Well, I think it's going to elevate the profile of the NFL to some degree. I think it would have worked well if he went in a bigger market, no question. But I think Tampa Bay, you're in the NFC South, the same division as Drew Brees. You're playing Drew Brees and Matt Ryan twice a year each. I think that goes a long way. I think being in the same conference as Aaron Rodgers goes a long way. I think being in the same conference as the Cowboys go a long way. Russell Wilson, and of course Jimmy Garoppolo, because he's still in San Francisco. So I think all of those things brings the eye of the storm towards the NFC, even in a way that it may not have done so before. And I think that makes it interesting. Outside of that, him not having weapons last year and having weapons this year, I expect him to have a much better season this upcoming year. I expect Tampa Bay to make the playoffs. I think their level of relevancy will be elevated exponentially. And as a result, who knows where the storylines will take us, particularly if we end up seeing Brady against Garoppolo, Brady against Rodgers, of course, Brady against Brees, Brady.
All right, Marcus, what do you think?
I'm interested. I heard both of you guys allude to Tampa and the matchups in the NFC and all of that. The storyline will be who's having a better season, Brady or Belichick. We will be paying attention to the New England Patriots and Tom Brady more than we'll be paying attention to actually Tom Brady and the Tampa Bay Bucs. Obviously, it makes them a contender when you have talent, and they're in the NFC South where you have Drew Brees, and all of that is exciting. But the number one narrative that was created at the beginning of this conversation, when we start talking about the possibility of Tom Brady leaving the New England Patriots, was him and Belichick. Who's responsible? That'll be the storyline for the rest of the year.
Yeah, and you know what else? Like as Stephen A. says, no excuses. I don't want to hear the Tom Brady apologists coming out now. You got a coach in Bruce Arians. You got an underrated defense. You got Brait and O.J. Howard. You got Godwin and Mike Evans and maybe Antonio Brown potentially before the end of the year. My Lord, what do you need? Like Stephen A., he's got all the weapons now.
Well, first of all, you're obviously you're misinforming the audience. So let's check that right now. Of course, Tom Brady has no excuses now. We're not saying that he does, nor are we saying that he should, Max. What we're saying is that he didn't need any excuses before when you were talking about a cliff that was non-existent. Don't change the narrative. That's the narrative. They ain't about what he does now. Ain't nobody worried about what Tom Brady's going to do now. He's got to perform or else he'll look bad, and we'll all be there to chronicle it because he certainly doesn't have any excuse to not have any weapons. But over the last 3 to 4 years, please, nothing to talk about.
I was 1 year off precisely. What I said in my original comment was what Brady did last year.
Here we go.
Oh, boy.
What Brady did not last year, but the year before last.
Don't do it.
What Brady did the year before last was what I thought he would do 3 years ago, which is win as a Peyton Manning-style game manager, plus because he wasn't hurt. But Peyton Manning won a Super Bowl with the Denver Broncos as a cooked quarterback. Tom Brady won a Super Bowl with the Patriots, the lowest scoring ever, behind a defense and a running game. Last year, he got bumped in the first round, and this year he's not on the Patriots anymore because they wouldn't pay him like an elite quarterback because he's not one. So is there a cliff, yes or no?
Molly, S.A., we're not going to go down this rabbit. We're not going to go down.
You know what, Molly?
Here's what I will say, Max.
Swagoo, you know what, Molly? And Swagoo? Max is the only person on the planet Earth that brags about being a year late. First of all, we all know it was longer. But he actually brags about being a year late. Even if he was right, he was still off a full year.
I agree. I credit Tom Brady.
He actually brags about it.
Hold on. I credit Tom Brady, but what about the rest of y'all pretending he's still elite? At least I'm caught up to reality. Y'all still living 2 years ago.
He went to 3 Super Bowls since the cliff prediction. 3.
I have one issue. I have one issue with what Max is saying. Max, please don't compare him to Peyton, bro. Peyton was broke down. Peyton had issues. Peyton couldn't even push the ball downfield. Tom Brady is not lacking in physicality like Peyton Manning was. Tom Brady doesn't need to be carried. Maybe he needs to be carried a little bit. I don't disagree with you there. But he does not need to be carried as much as Peyton Manning was carried by that Denver Broncos defense.
No doubt. So you're right about this. Tom Brady has avoided big
requisite throws.
Tom Brady's resistance to injury has been remarkable and actually has been the key to the fact that he's still a solid NFL quarterback. That's why.
Can we move on?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
All right.
Thank you. I'd like to move on.
Max,
because there's
brags about being a year
quarterback out there.
Brags about being a year late.
You brag about being wrong today.
Gentlemen, Philip Rivers has agreed to a 1-year, $25 million deal with the Indianapolis Colts. Obviously, the knock against him is that he never won a ring, but he is also a top-tier quarterback. Max, I will start with you on this subject. Tell me this. How much does Rivers have left in the tank, or does he have a cliff to deal with too?
He's cooked. I mean, Philip Rivers is one of my favorite quarterbacks in the league for a long time now. I always rooted for him to really get over the hump. I always thought, hey, if Belichick had Rivers, he's an example of a guy. I think they'd have gone to multiple Super Bowls, won more than one, if Belichick had Rivers for 20 years, right? Even if he's not Tom Brady. But I was very disappointed a couple of years ago. Always he seemed snake bit. His team seemed snake bit, underachieving in spite of a lot of talent. He's a tough guy, an Iron Man. But when push came to shove, and by the way, that includes against the Patriots a couple years ago, he looked like a deer in headlights. And then this past season, he did not have a good season. And he's a year older. So as much as I would love to see Philip Rivers win a Super Bowl, as Eli has a couple times and Roethlisberger has it a couple times, his draft classmates, I just don't see it. I don't think he's got it anymore.
Well, I'm not going to say he does. Listen, he's certainly not what he used to be, and I'm not enamored with him, but I do love that offensive line that they have in Indy. And so when you look at the parts that they ended with last season, you're talking about the Pascals, the Hiltons, the Doyles of the world, and others. If you protect Philip Rivers, and you got Frank Reich there as your head coach who knows a thing or two about offense. He won a Super Bowl as the offensive coordinator with the Philadelphia Eagles. One could easily surmise that this year could be better than last year. Philip Rivers last year did complete 66% of his passes. He did throw for 4,600 yards. Okay, the problem was he also threw 20 interceptions. It wasn't quite Jameis Winston, but damn it was bad enough. And so because of that, the amount of years that he's been in the league is immobile as he is. I can understand the doubts. But if that offensive line that I think is monstrous, if they can protect this guy, he can still fling that football to dudes that can get open. And in the AFC South, with the move that Bill O'Brien just made, we're wondering about Tannehill and whether or not he last year was a fluke or is he really, really that dude. Jacksonville, they're trying to reshape things. There's a chance that Indy might be better than we think they are. So I have a wait-and-see approach about it, Swagoo.
Physically, he's on the decline, obviously, but we got to stop talking about these quarterbacks like they're not inching towards 40. They all going to be physically declining. Drew Brees, Tom Brady, and obviously Phillip Rivers at 38. So they almost there at that point, Max with his clip. With that being said, man, Patrick Mahomes ain't left the Chiefs. Phillip Rivers been dealt a terrible hand throughout his career, and not by his own doing. He's had really good teams. He's had opportunities and windows to possibly win a Super Bowl. Only thing he's had to do was beat Peyton Manning and Tom Brady to get to the Super Bowl, and it ain't happened. And now you find him in Indy with Frank Reich, who he's reconnecting with, who he's been around before. You love what Indianapolis can offer with Mack in the backfield, offering him a run game. Last year was tumultuous in L.A., obviously with the Melvin Gordon situation, Austin Eckler. The year previous, that was a 12-4 football team. Rex Ryan was talking about that being possibly the best team in the NFL with the defensive talent that they had. Phillip Rivers is a reach. I don't like it. I thought Jacoby Brissett was playing well at the beginning of the season before his injury. I think Indianapolis could possibly take a step back if this doesn't go well. And pushing your chips all the way in to give him a one-year, $25 million deal and the potential to have to find another quarterback the following year if you belabor Jacoby Brissett to that point where he doesn't want to be around anymore, where you've pissed him off enough to leave and want to leave, then you put Indianapolis in a bad situation looking for a quarterback once again. So it's not that he's fell off a cliff. It's not that Phillip Rivers doesn't have anything left in the tank. Phillip Rivers is going to have to beat Patrick Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl, and he ain't doing that.
Hey guys, this just in, and I want to switch gears here and get your reaction on this. So earlier we discussed how Michael Irvin was on Get Up. Michael Irvin enlightened us on a conversation that he had with DeAndre Hopkins, where Hopkins spoke to Bill O'Brien in a meeting. He mentioned the name of Aaron Hernandez, a comparison there, and obviously Hopkins felt that was out of line and that he has children with multiple women. Well, we hadn't heard from Bill O'Brien. We hadn't heard from Hopkins himself until now. He just put this out on Twitter. Let me read it to you. This is being blown way out of proportion. As I've said before, I enjoyed and am proud of my time with the Texans. I have the utmost respect for Coach O'Brien, and that will not change. Now I'm ready to play for the Cardinals. Again, DeAndre traded to the Cardinals. Your thoughts, Stephen A.?
If he says it, that means we should leave it at that. Obviously, he's moved on. And, and I don't blame him for taking this position because what he's essentially saying, in my estimation, is that now we're getting into my personal life. I don't want that. I just want to play football. I don't blame him. I'm going to respect and honor that.
Yeah, I would say I'm with you, Stephen A., there, but my thoughts just go back to the last comment you made on this. Even if he saw Hopkins as a distressed asset, Bill O'Brien, he took on David Johnson's contract with no compensation and traded Hopkins and didn't even get a first-round pick. DeAndre Hopkins looking clean right now. Bill O'Brien's looking bad with or without the last statement.
Two parts can be true. D-Hop cannot want us to get in his personal life. And Stephen A., I 100% agree, and I think he's playing it the right way. And then on the other side, if the fact that Bill O'Brien, if he said that, if that was true, that's still some BS. So we can go there, too. There are two parts that can be true. I think both sides are making a statement and presenting a case. D-Hop doesn't want to deal with it. He's moved on. That's where we leave it.
Yep. And, of course, we invited Bill O'Brien to the show if he wants to join us. Bill from the Belichick coaching tree. And we know one person who's got to be pleased today. That's Kyler Murray because he gets a fantastic weapon. We'll be back tomorrow.